of this intruder with our one of the big new weapons. It's a minigun, which is a really nice weapon to do a lot of damage with. That's also one of the things that obviously people remember from Killzone 2, that we have these fantastic set pieces.
Yep.
And this bit right here is, I think, it's about 3 minutes of worth of destruction, which tops any kind of level that we did in Killzone 2 in terms of destruction. The level of damage that you do to this environment is just phenomenal. There's pipes falling down, there's entire oil rigs crashing down into the water. It's quite rewarding to use that minigun on these kind of environments.
I don't think you've taken your finger off the trigger yet. It's just constant fire.
It's constant fire.
There's a lot to shoot at.
Absolutely.
So can you set this up for me? What are we doing here? Who are we fighting? That kind of thing?
Well, obviously we're still on Helgaan.
Yeah.
On Killzone 2, we actually ended on the steps of the palace, having just taken out Vizari. Spoiler alert. I'm sorry.
Right. Sorry about that, guys.
But the game picks up. Killzone 3 picks up right where we left off. So you're still on the steps. You can see the Helghast cruisers coming in, and you know it's time to evacuate. They're bringing their full force. A lot of technological advancements from the Helghast side, and you now need to get the hell off the planet. But obviously, as things go, they don't go right, which means you probably have to go throughout the planet in order to make your final escape. So in this portion of the level, as Herman said, you'll be taken to the Arctic seas of Helgaan, and you're just meeting up with Rico again, and you're trying to salvage some POWs in order to get the hell off the planet.
It reminds me so much of that trailer you showed for Killzone 2 when you're on the landers,
Yep.
but here you're actually playing it. It's a lot of fun.
That's one of the new things in Killzone 3, that we make sure that you actually get some gameplay while you're on these things, and we want to change it up as much as possible. So this level that we're showing here today has got 4 distinct sections. It starts off with you on the intruder wielding this big minigun. Then it's time for some on-foot as you get shot down and you're stranded in this very Arctic environment. And you'll face off with some new frightening enemies that are there, kind of bringing their new technological advancements. Things like a jetpack. It's something that we brought back from the original Killzone, from Killzone Liberation. We always kind of look back at the previous games. So from Killzone 1 we had these big gyro mount weapons. So the minigun is one of those, and the Wasp, which is a big portable weapon of mass destruction, which fires lots of missiles, which you'll see later in this level. That's another one of those weapons that basically is inspired by the original Killzone 1 on PlayStation 2. And then we've got the jetpack enemies in there, which are inspired on what we did for Killzone Liberation. We felt it would make a great addition to get some more variety into the game and to introduce things like aerial gameplay, because we just want to make sure that the minute-to-minute stuff that you're doing is just fantastic.
What about the sea, Steve? We're proud of the sea.
Of course, I mean, Killzone, the stuff that people always talk about is the visual benchmark, kind of the fidelity of the graphics out there, and that's something that we've worked very hard on to make sure that, again, we raised the bar in terms of what's possible on a PlayStation 3. By the end of Killzone 2, we always thought, well, we're maxing it out, this is kind of what we can do. But then you go back to your code and you find you can do other things, and other games show up. Great games like Uncharted, God of War, and they show that the bar can be raised even higher. So that means we have to step up and again push out and say, okay, what can we do to make this better? So we've gotten much bigger environments this time around, the much larger vistas. You can see these big seas. We have to develop some new technology to the engine to make sure that all of this is running as smooth as possible. We want to make sure that it's, again, a very fluid experience.
It happens.
It happens to the best of us.
So let me ask you while we...
This is actually one of the new features.
Go ahead.
Rico here. Rico's still there from Killzone 2. A lot of people were picking up on Rico, saying, well, he caused a lot of frustration, a lot of anger in people. There's very strong emotions around him. Emotions are great around the character, but it shouldn't be out of frustration. So we're making him a much more useful buddy this time around. So he can do things like revive the player. So as Herman just got shot down, Rico came up, revived him. So it's not just you doing the reviving, he actually revives you as well, keeping you in the game, keeping you going. So
now you want him around. Yeah, absolutely. So we've seen a lot of Arctic setting in this game. first question is Killzone 3 all set in this area? Okay.
We're taking you across the entire planet, so anything from the kind of the ruins of Pyrrhus, the city that we visited in Killzone 2, where now a nuclear blast has gone off, so the city looks completely different, and yeah, basically it's a nuclear wasteland. So we'll take you from there. We'll take you to jungles, very alien, hostile jungles. It's not what you would expect from a jungle. We'll take you to the Arctic seas. We'll take you even into space at some point. So there's a lot of variety in terms of the environments and also in terms of the actual gameplay.
Very nice. The other question, with the Arctic stuff, is can you talk about sort of the influence? I mean, we see these raging seas, we see this really sort of stark cold environment. Can you talk about the influences and what you drew to create these environments?
Well, obviously, as we started to explore kind of what kind of new environments, what else is there on Helgan that we wanted to go to, we always had this vision of, okay, there's an older culture there. The Helghast have been on the Helgan for a while now, and we want to explore what makes them tick and go more into their history. So what we're actually doing here is we thought, well, there must have been an industry there on Helgan, and one of the industry elements is that they use petrocite. That's the ore they mine from the ground, and that's actually where these oil rigs come in. The oil rigs and the big ships they use to transport the ore with. So we were envisioning this graveyard of oil rigs that would just be washed up and frozen on these icy shores. Really harsh conditions again, because life on Helgan isn't easy, and it shouldn't be. So that's really where this came from, is kind of exploring what the Helghast culture was about, what kind of their industry would be about, and all those kind of things. So this is the introduction of the Jetpack troopers. They're a great new enemy, and actually, if one of the systems that we've introduced already in Killzone 2. We're expanding that for Killzone 3. This is one of the systems called Cinematic Death. We want to make sure that there's a lot of rewards when you actually kill one of those guys. So as Herman kills one of these jetpack troopers, you can see at times, if you do it right, then he will fly up into the air and explode magnificently with lots and lots of flames.
I have to ask, do you get to fly one of the jetpacks?
That's actually the big thing. Obviously, we've now introduced the jetpack guys, and as Herman makes his way to the top of this, to the bow of this ship, he will actually be able to put on a jetpack himself.
So it's coming.
And it's coming right now.
All right. Oh.
Took one right in the face.
Two deaths, Herman.
Two deaths.
Two deaths.
But again, Rico's there. He'll help you out.
Once again.
Absolutely.
I have to show you how helpful Rico is these days.
So can you talk about sort of enemy AI improvements?
Yeah, absolutely. The enemy AI is something that was very strong in Killzone 2 already, where they were able to respond to situations and basically making sure that no encounter ever played the same. You could go into a room and it would always be different. Lots of different ways to solve the particular encounter. With the larger environments that we have this time around in Killzone 3, there's a lot more routes, both for the player as well as for the AI, which makes encounters all the more fluid. You never know where they are, you never know what to expect. They could be around the corner, they could be up close to you. So we really mixed it up this time around. Obviously the aerial gameplay adds a whole new dimension to it, because all of a sudden they can come from the sky as well. So there's a lot of different things that AI is now capable of. And we make sure that we cater to different kind of gameplay styles. So it's not just your tactical gameplay that we saw in Killzone 2, a lot of ducking behind cover and taking pot shots at the enemy from quite a distance. We also wanted to introduce more run and gun gameplay as well, and make sure that there's some mechanics there for people to enjoy as well. So this time around we introduced something called brutal melees, which again goes back to kind of what we did for Killzone 1, where you could take a knife and slice somebody's throat. We're taking that a couple steps further in Killzone 3, and you can actually get up close to these enemies and perform kind of context-sensitive melees. So that makes it really nice, a really brutal kind of effect. This is it's the jetpack. This is what we did for Killzone Liberation, and this is in first person, obviously, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. There's a big mounted machine gun on the side. You never run out of bullets with that one, and you can just hop on from iceberg to iceberg, hop onto these oil rigs, and do lots and lots of destruction.
Can you explain the controls here?
Yeah, the controls are very straightforward. You use L1 trigger to just boost up, and then you can press X to boost forward in any direction to kind of dodge missiles or make longer jumps. And then you've got the R1, the regular kind of this is your fire button, and that will allow you to fire that big mounted machine gun. You can also throw grenades still using the R2. So basically everything that you know from the controls are still there. And it feels really intuitive to just jump around in these packs.
And how much boost are we talking about? Like 5 seconds worth of boost, or?
There's a good couple seconds. It's what happens is if you boost up, as soon as you kind of reach your maximum altitude, you slowly descend. So I think there's probably a good 5 seconds of flying every time. And of course, what you can do is climb up higher and higher. These oil rigs are really suited for that, so you can basically reach areas that you were never before able to reach, and then really just glide down on top of these enemies and, while you're shooting the hell out of them. So it's a lot of fun.
If you guys want to ask questions of the developers of Killzone 3, you can send us an email at onthespot@gamespot.com. Guys, I have one from Asan from Copenhagen. He wants to know how many melee moves are there in Killzone 3?
Too many to mention. No, we have a whole bunch, I guess about 7 in there now, where we're still adding variety as we go. So this is still pre-alpha code we're showing today.
What we'll do with all of these melees is they're context sensitive. So based on the environment that you're at, let me just get out of harm's way here, but if you're close to say this railing here, it'll scan the environment and it'll see that you're close to the railing. You can take the guy's head, bump him to it. If you're freestanding, you'll do a different kind of move. If you're close to a wall, you can actually kick him into the wall and then take him out. So there's all these kind of context-sensitive moves, and we're adding lots and lots of different ones. Each weapon will have different ones as well, so there's lots and lots of variety.
All right, let's take a few more. Dudley Rogers from Rockford. That might be in Great Britain. He wants to know how many new guns are there in Killzone 3? He wants to know about the guns.
That's a great question. So I think we can talk about the guns that are in this level, right? Steven already mentioned the minigun that you're fighting with on the intruder, and then later on the level there's the wasp gun, what we nicknamed the portable weapon of mass destruction. But we have a lot of variety in the game with a lot of different guns coming, inspired by Killzone 1, inspired by Liberation. But we'll keep a couple of surprises for later on in the year. How do you like that?
Rest assured, they will destroy things very nicely.
They will destroy things.
Yes, that's important. I would imagine the jetpack changes up combat a great deal and sort of puts a burden on your AI.
Not at all, actually. The aerial aspect of it, because the AI is aware of its environment, so they know how to scan the environment in all directions. So I wouldn't say they're as smart as a human being, but it's pretty close.
It's kind of the other way around. We in Killzone 2 we had a lot more constrained levels, and in Killzone 3, since the scale of the levels you're playing in is so much bigger, we have a lot more opportunity to show off the AI that was already great in Killzone 2. It's the same AI but improved, and it gives you just a lot more freedom, and it's a much better showcase of the AI as we put it together.
All right, guys. Well, we saw a lot of destruction. We saw some jetpack. We see some puzzle solving here, and even more destruction. Thank you for being here. Killzone 3. Final question, of course. When can we expect to play it?
When you can expect to play it, it's here at E3,
yes,
right behind the GameSpot booth,
yep.
And it will be in the stores in February of 2011.
All right, well, February can't get here soon enough, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Right now, it's time for a show report from the E3 2010 show floor from THQ. Check it out.